Hello again. Today I'm just sharing with you a Christmas tree I've made, and this is, I think, a very romantic looking tree. It's very pretty and just soft and shabby. It's not over the top. It's just, I think, very, very pretty. I'm so pleased with how it turned out. And I was on Pinterest and I came across a beautiful full-size Christmas tree, and it had been covered in wedding dresses, and I will put a link to the blog where that picture came from. I think it's Penny's Vintage Home or Penny's Romantic Home, and I can't do a full-size one, but it inspired me to make a Christmas tree. And I have used on this is the ruffle around the shirt I recently got at the thrift store. It is the pleated collar piece, and I just wound it around the tree and stuck it on. And this ruffle is actually off a curtain I got thrifting quite a long time ago. So it's a very, it basically cost me next to nothing. I already had everything. I bought the foam cone at Lincraft in the sales last year. It was a slightly, no, it wasn't damaged, this one. This one was fine. The flower on the top is from Lisa's craft shop. Thank you, Lisa. I just trimmed that down a little bit. I do have a DIY video after this, and the only thing I've added is this bow that isn't in the video, and I use the bow maker, the Deco Fun bow maker. Look at me remembering, yay! And I put that there because I wasn't sure how I wanted it. And I also added some pearls. I only added 2 strands, one going across the pleating there and also one there, and let me know whether I should keep those pearls or not, because I'm not quite sure. I didn't want it over the top, I just wanted it very pretty. I think this would be lovely in a bedroom, and because I'd done this and I thought it was ever so pretty, I wanted to make some baubles as well. And also on Pinterest I found a picture of some ruffled baubles, and I will also put a link to the tutorial that I found. It's a written tutorial. I did follow her instructions, but I've put together after this also just where I thought you might want a little bit more information while making it. So not to take away from her tutorial at all, but just to help you out where you may get a little bit, or you may just need a little bit more advice, if you could say that. Not that I know any more than this woman, I don't, but I think some people follow a visual tutorial a bit easier than a written one, that's all. So they're my lovely shabby ruffled baubles, and these were made out of the same fabric that this shirt. It had like a sheer overlay, and I used that fabric for these, and I think they turned out ever so pretty. I really, really like how everything turned out. So there you go. I hope you enjoy the quick how-to at the end. There we go. There's my shabby ruffled Christmas decorations. Okay, thank you for joining me today. Bye. So the first thing I've done, I have this large cone. It is a foam shape, deco foam shape, and it's 40 centimeters. The height of it is 40 centimeters. Not that that really matters. You can do, you know, whatever you find. You can use a foam cone, or you could use a chipboard cone, any kind. Cardboard. I'm pretty sure it would work on anything. I've got some old curtaining fabric here. I've just wrapped it around, pinned it on, and I'm about to glue it. Now, I have never used hot glue on foam before. I don't even know if that will work. I'm hoping it doesn't melt the foam. I just want something that's quick and doesn't have to be ultra tidy because it's all going to be covered, but I do want the foam covered on it. If you wanted to, you could cover it with lace, but I can't see the point if it's all going to be covered. I've just pinned it into place, hoping this doesn't take too long to warm up. Okay, so here goes. I'm not quite sure how this now. I'm not sure whether to glue the foam down and then that over. We can try it. We'll try, see how that works. So if I put those ladies in Australia, this cone I got from Lincraft when they were having their sale on. I think they're normally around $7, something like that. Well, keep your eye out in the op shops because sometimes you see them in there. They do have the thick cardboard paper mache ones. They're about that tall, but they're a lot wider at the bottom, and I particularly wanted a long, you know, tall, thin one. So the paper mache ones were about $5. Okay, that'll do. Now we can get started. Now the look, I've got this top, it's got all this lovely pleated fabric, and I'm hoping I get to use a bit of this. So I'll just pause the camera while I cut that off. Okay, I've taken that piece off of that top. There is a little like marks where those flowers were, but that should be alright. And because the tray that I saw on Pinterest, it was covered in wedding dresses, and I'm thinking this might, isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? This might be alright to use with the other things to break up because I think the idea is for me to try and get the look of skirts as best I can. Yeah, I think, okay, alright, well, the beauty about crafting is you can always take it off, can't you, if it goes wrong. One would hope. Let's just get that. I might take that a little bit lower and pin it. That's the beauty about these foam cones. You can actually pin things into place before gluing, which is really nice. I've just glued the top of it on and halfway down there as well, and so that's what it looks like. Oh, it's like a drill, isn't it? So I thought now I would use this gathered trim here. Now this is from Michelle. What I thought I would do is, I know it's gathered, but the thing is, if I put that on like that and put it down, see how it kind of just droops like that? It doesn't really go out or anything like that. So I thought if I put it on but plait it every so often like that, it would go out better. Do you see how that kind of goes out? Because I've put a pleat in it, otherwise it's like that, and I don't want that. I need it to look like, you know, that sort of thing. So we'll give that a try, and I think I'll take that from up there. And there I'm not sure if there's going to be enough of this, but there's another piece in there that's just a slight different colour. So I ended up taking it off. I didn't particularly like the way it looked. I thought the two different fabrics didn't sit well together, and it didn't kind of create the look I was going for. I'm kind of going for like a vintage, you know, and like this has that vintage look, although it's probably not, well, it is definitely not vintage pleated trim, but it has the look of it. But what I did remember I had, a long time ago I found some old vintage curtains, and these are the tie backs for the curtains. That may go with this really, really nicely. So I'm going to have a look. Pull all the bits off. Alright, maybe we'll start. Ugh, see, I took the wrong. I need to take them both off anyway. They've been on there for a while or something. Okay, so might start this one at the bottom, like that. See how nice that goes with that. Okay, and it was easy enough to take the other one off, so I'm just going to glue it on. I can go back and add more glue later if I want. So we'll try and keep it about an inch. Is that about that far? Trim, and I think it's lovely. What I wanted to do with it was use it when I get my craft room, is to put it around my chair. I think it would look very pretty around the chair. Okay, so I've run out a little bit, so I've got another one, and I'll just there, I think. Where's my scissors? Oh, okay. I'll cut it there. That gives me a bit extra. And at least take it to there, but I don't want to finish the top because I don't know how I'm going to finish it right now, so it'll probably something like that. I don't know. So I'm just going to put a pin there to hold that, like that, and now I'm going to one of the tie backs, and this is what was in the bag with it. It was 4 drops, 292 centimeters by 124 centimeters, plus 4 tie backs, frilled German curtain, it says. Oh, hello Molly. She's decided to come in here and join. I just thought there's a couple of places I might like to put a little bit more in the center part there. So I will just continue on. I've lost my scissors, my little ones. You could probably sit here all day primping and preening at it. Where'd that go? Did I put that away? Oh no, okay. I don't know if that's the right colour, but it might be alright. I don't know. We shall see. See, I thought, I just thought every so often it could have like little dangly bits. You know, I don't want anything sparkly on this. I kind of like it just plain. That part there annoys me a bit. It does. Let's have that. A lot of it's not glued down yet, so I've got to remember that. got to work out what I want to do on the top. Now I do have where is it? Oh, where did that go? Oh, there we go. I do have a flower. This is from Lisa's scrap shop. This is the flower here. I know that's a little bit different colour. I wonder, but that's, I don't want too much going on, but I do want something on the top. And see, that's what the flower looks like. Now, maybe I could use that in some way. Just let me pin it there, and I can kind of live with that as well. I can pin it. It's the only thing with using glue. Maybe I could trim the flower just a little bit and have the pearly part. I don't want to lose the vintage look to it, that's all. So, yeah, because I like the way that looks. Maybe a feather on top. But like to one side with a feather on top. Do I have any feathers, I wonder? White, cream coloured feathers. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to turn it off now and think about it. And I forgot, I'm just gluing a doily to the bottom of the tray. This is a doily piece I got from Lynn Harris. Thank you, Lynn. And I've just made it a bit smaller so that it will fit the bottom of the tray like that, and just finishes it off nicely. And then when you put it that way like that, you can just see it's like it's sitting on a little doily, which is really pretty, isn't it? So I'm kind of finished. I'm pretty sure that's all I want to do to it, you know. I mean, I could poof it more and things like that at the top, but I don't want to. I like the way it looks. And she's done. Isn't she pretty? That turned out a lot prettier than I thought it would. May have to get a little bit of the straight iron to just that little bit there, because it's a bit wrinkly and it annoys me. But I think it's lovely. Very happy with that. It'd be beautiful in a bedroom, wouldn't it? Something very, very nice. Thank you. So this is my ball, and this is just a foam ball like this. I'm not quite sure on what size it is. Let's have a look. Well, it's 8 inches around, so I suppose it's a 4-inch ball. Is that how they do it? Anyway, that's what it is. Not that it really matters, because you just make it, it's a 65mm ball. Okay. Not that it really matters, because you just use what you have. The first ball I made, I just covered the foam in the ruffles, and I found that as I was trying to adjust some of the ruffles, it would, if you tried to move it, it would pull the foam out. And so I thought maybe this time I will, cover the ball first. So I have just very quickly covered this bauble with a bit of fabric that I had just laying on my desk here. It's not neat, it doesn't have to be neat. So decide where you want the top to be. Sometimes they have an indent, but this one didn't particularly have one. Just let me put a bit more glue under there, just to keep it down a bit. Okay. I have a piece of tulle trim, and this is some trim that Louisa gave me a while ago. And what you do is you tie it. You can use whatever you want. This is just what I'm using. Tie it and open up the end like that. And I think the idea is to glue that like that. Okay, so you glue that on before anything else. So because it's a ball, it doesn't really matter where you start. Oops, I need more glue. So I'm just going to start up here where I can cover all the mess up. And I'm going to go across like that, just so I can put that in the center and get something to hold it because it's hot. And I hope it works better with having the fabric on it this time. I think these baubles are probably, and this tree, are the first things I've ever used hot glue and styrofoam together. So it is a bit of a learning experience. And then just press it down a bit, and that will hold really nicely. And of course, as it dries, the hold will be much stronger. And once you get your ruffles around it, it will be even better. So that's how I start. Now I'm going to get my first length. Now I wrote down how much I used for this. Okay, I cut my fabric about 2.5 inches wide and folded it in half, and this is a 1.25 inch ruffle. Because I made it out of a top that I'd got at the thrift store, I just used, you know, the width that it was. Each width was 50 inches, which is around 125 centimeters. Each ball, well, the first ball took 2.5 lengths of that. So probably about 125 inches all up, depending on the size ball. That's for this type of ball and how you want your ruffles. So, you know, it's just one of those things you have to figure it out when you're doing it, depending on the size ball you're using, and also the kind of fabric. Like a heavier fabric, you wouldn't need as much because it's a thicker ruffle. This is only a nylon fabric, and it's going to be, you know, it's much softer, isn't it? Okay, so to start with, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that thread so it doesn't come ungathered before I even get going. And what I did, cut that off. Right. Okay, so what I did, can you see? There we go. So that's the end of our fabric there. You need to start it up against the top of your hanger. But I'm not going to glue right on the end, because you find once you come around there, that side, that one has to go, it has to come around and go down like that. And if that's glued down already, you can't get it underneath. So, and then once that's glued, you can ruffle that in like that, and it will be fine. So don't, you know, if you want to, you can, but I didn't. I left that little end bit unglued until a little bit later. So, and you work in small areas, especially around this top piece. So I'm leaving that end bit unglued, like that. And then you have to kind of, you know, push it around the top there. So if you just put little bits of glue and then gather it in, around the hanger. See, you don't want it, see, lift it and gather it in. Ow. Just got to get that, but you don't want it like sitting funny either. You need to keep in mind you want that sat nice. So is that sat down? Yep, that's sat down. And don't put the glue too far down. Like I've put it just where kind of the sewing is, but even that, be careful it doesn't stick too far down, because the next row has to go under it, and if you've glued it halfway down, you're going to have, you know, a hard time hiding the top of this one. So try and keep it as high up as you can at the top end of the bauble. So a little bit more. It is a slow process. I'm sure if you did a few, it would get better. Okay, so that's the beginning. We're lifting that up now, and this one is going to come under it like that. So just press it like that, and now you're going to lift that and that top one there, and put a little bit, just try it maybe just an inch at a time until you feel you know what you're doing a little bit. And for some reason the glue seems to be more occupied with underneath, and it doesn't seem as hot. I don't know whether that's something to do with the styrofoam ball or not, but it doesn't seem as hot. So this is a terrible batch of glue. It's as stringy as anything. Okay, so we've got that going under there now, and so of course we don't want to leave that like that, so you can fold it under and just stick it down like that. I fully intend to put a bow or something under this, so, and I think most people would probably decorate around the hanger, you know, but if not, that's fine. I'm sure you can work out some way of covering up your workings. Maybe a flower, poinsettia, snowflakes, anything. Okay, there we go. And I wasn't too particular about cutting my fabric perfectly, for the simple fact this is a shabby ball and it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, that's the whole reason for the shabby style, that it's, you know, it's worn, a bit tattered, not perfect, like everything these days. So, alright, and just press that down nice and close. And you kind of want it, see, it's like sitting approximately halfway. And if you find it's not ruffled enough, just pinch it and move it back a little bit, and you'll get a more ruffly effect. And I will do this the top and the bottom are probably the trickiest. Once you get this, the top row or two in place, it's just a matter of, see how I'm just pinching that to add it, make the gather sit nicely. And that's how it will go, like that. And I will continue around, making sure nothing gets stuck to the wrong place. And see, that's how it will go. And you'll just keep doing that all, and I'll come back when I get to the more towards the bottom, because I want to show you how I did the bottom as well. And now I've done more than halfway, as you can see, and I'm coming to the bottom. And what I found is, whereas before you're gluing it right underneath the next ruffle, as you come down, you drop the ruffle a little bit. Like, instead of gluing it right up close to that last row, put the glue row down a little bit more, like that. And see how it's not sat directly under that other row. It drops it a little bit, and that just helps it to, I don't know, I just found that's how I did the other one. Because if you're always tucking it tight into the previous row, it's going to take a lot of ruffles. I'd like to try this with gathered lace, not the kind that has the band around it though. So yeah. See how it's almost done, and what you do is, that's where it is there, and you would glue like that, and then in just like that. You don't join them. You don't need to join them. So it's around and up. The ruffles cover everything. I'm going to have to join another little piece to finish this, and I'll show you how I do that. Just let me gather that up a little bit. Because the glue doesn't dry very quickly on this, it's easy to kind of maneuver your ruffles how you want them. Just trim that off. Oh, I've got glue all over me. I'm just going to trim that end a bit. so this is the last piece I've got. Once you get to here, you're going to have to make sure your ruffles stay out of the way, kind of twist them into the centre. You don't want glue all over them, because we're getting very close now. Just keep holding it up. It's very forgiving because it's meant to be shabby looking. It's very, very forgiving. You don't have to have everything perfectly straight, which is does make it easier. I think if you were doing it out of a satin or something, it would need to be a lot straighter. So just pushing the gathering onto it, but curling the ruffle part away from the glue so you're not laying it in it. And we're just about done. See how we've come around, and see how there's a nice gap there because it's going into the centre now, and we're only going to put glue like that now. And I can hold it that way to do that. Make sure it's not stuck. Like that. Whoa, don't lay it in it. Okay. I'm just going to cut that off. There. Just push that down, that last bit, and that's it. See how that just all covers up? Oops. It all covers up so you don't see any of that, and there we go. It's not that difficult to do. You've just got to make sure you get the top of it and the bottom of it going. The rest just happens. I guess you could put a dangle from there if you wanted, but I don't see the need. I feel like it should have a little bit more in there. But you'd never see it. You'd never see it. Now, see this one. See how much more ruffled that is on top than that one, I feel. But then when they get their bows on, I think they will be fine, to be honest. I don't think that'll be a problem at all. Now, I just need to find a couple of bows to put on. I've decided to use this tulle trim that Louisa sent me. It's like almost like tubing, but it's not. And I'm using my, oh hang on, it says exactly what it is here, Deco Fun Bow Maker, that I always seem to forget I've got. Okay, so I'm wrapping it around 3 times. That's 1, 2, 3. I started with the tail here, threaded behind this and around the pole 3 times, and then this one ends on the opposite side. So I'm just going to cut that, and I'm going to cut another piece of it, take it through like that, and tie it in a bow. And I know you probably can't see a thing that I've done. And then lift it up. I'm going to cut all those approximately the same size as the loops. And then I'm going to open them because they do curl up, this particular one. And I'm going to just put it on an angle. I don't always cut my ribbons on an angle. I know some people do it all the time. I do it when I think it needs it. Some things, like if they're more rustic looking, actually I think look a bit better with a straight edge. And some other things look better with like a fork tongue, you know, like a fork, like it goes like that, V. Okay. Oh, that one's a bit long. I'll take that down a bit more. Okay. And then all I'm going to do, so there's our sweet little bow. And I'm using the white because the tree I made has this colour, and the curtaining is white. So, and I've put one on that side. I made sure which way the tree branch would go through, and so that's the way I face the bow. And then I'm just going to put one on this side too, so it's nice and full. Do we want some of those going down a bit first?